Hi again, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. This is part two of the video that I made with Alex McFarland. It's my part two of the appearance that I had on Alex McFarland's show. You may remember that I used to debate Alex a lot, and now as tides have turned, I find him and me. Of course, I'm not Christian. He's still Christian. I'm still an atheist, but we are on very similar sides on a few issues. And that's what's making this so interesting to me. So here's part two of the show. I hope you enjoy it. Before we get to that, please check out my new book, Darkshiner. It's available on Amazon and Kindle right now, paperback and Kindle. It's short, it's tight, it's fun, and it's pretty darn good if I say so myself. So please check out Darkshiner on Amazon today. And here's the show.
Why would a trans person decide that to get their point across and to defend their position, they've got to kill? Covenant Christian School in Tennessee, Annunciation Church and School in Minneapolis, and then Charlie Kirk shot by a pro-trans activist shooter in Utah. Why? And how does this actually impinge on the human rights and safety of us all, especially Jewish people as well? Let's talk about this and more on this edition of the Alex McFarland Show. You know, I first spoke on a college campus as a Christian around 1996. And I remember during a Q&A session then, 29 years ago, about homosexuality and then students advocating for gay marriage. I remember the hostility that was expressed as I began to talk about the fact that America was founded on the Judeo-Christian moral foundation. Hi, Alex McFarland. You know, as I'm recording this show, it's a week out from Charlie Kirk's execution there at Utah. And it was no accident that he was shot while he was in the middle of answering a question about transgenderism. Kind of reminded me of the night that we had Charlie Kirk, August 21, and he was speaking in our Conversation That Matter speaker series. A female came to the mic and said, "Why, as a Christian, do you feel like you have the right to incite violence against trans people?" And Charlie Kirk basically said, "I would never incite violence against anyone." And the person in the exchange basically said, "Your words are violence, and you're erasing me." Well, Charlie Kirk aside, there are many volatile issues of our times that take discussion and thought and reasoned, calm presentation of the facts, whether we agree or disagree. I mean, as a Christian and as a traveling speaker, I've dialogued with countless numbers of people that disagree with me, sometimes vehemently so. And there are people that I disagree with them. But even though we disagree, even disagree by a wide margin, doesn't mean that I would do them harm or wish them ill. Well, we're going to talk about the Charlie Kirk shooting a little bit, but we're also going to talk about anti-Semitism, and I've got two guests I'll bring on in just a moment. But in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk shooting, Ben Shapiro was on the Bill Maher show. And Bill Maher, Jewish, claims to be an atheist, but Bill Maher, fighting back emotion, he said Charlie Kirk was the nicest guest I've ever had on, the kindest person. And he really was. And he factually, sometimes very passionately, but always respectfully would dialogue about issues. And Ben Shapiro pointed out that people get radicalized, whether it be a Muslim or an advocate of BLM or a Marxist, certainly a trans person. When they have a conspiratorial view of the world, they view a person's position as a personal affront on them, and then they feel like violence is self-defense. I mean, think about that. Tyler Robinson was thinking along those irrational lines. And when we come back, we're going to talk about another nearly inexplicable, although I think it is explainable, but irrational feeling, and that's hatred for the Jewish people. And the relationship between Jew hatred and the shooting of Charlie Kirk we'll explore much more on this edition of the Alex McFarland Show. Stay tuned. Would you like a book to help you understand the biblical prophecies, the passages about the end of time? Hi, Alex McFarland. You know, for well over a decade, Bert Harper and I have been on the nationally syndicated AFR show, Exploring the Word. Over 3,000 shows we've done together, and Bert and I have a brand new book as of fall 2025, 100 Bible Questions and Answers on Prophecy and the End Times. You can get it at booksellers everywhere. Our brand new book, Bert Harper, Alex McFarland, Exploring the Word, 100 Bible Questions and Answers on Prophecy and the End Times, published by our great friends at Broad Street Publishing. Check it out, and we believe it will help you understand how to live and thrive in these last days. Welcome back to the program. Alex McFarland here. You're about to see part two of a conversation that we're having with two valued colleagues, one of whom is Jenny Kaiser. She has a journalism degree from the University of Georgia. She's a multi-award-winning producer, director, and she is with the Jewish Federation of Greensboro, North Carolina, where we film, and that's part of the Jewish Federations of North America, wonderful organization. Also, longtime friend and colleague David Silverman, now living in Canada. His Twitter, or X handle, I should say, is Mr. Atheist Pants. And very impressive resume, undergrad from Brandeis University, MBA from Penn State, and somebody that is just not only fun to talk with, but very constructive to talk with. And we're talking about, this is part two of our conversation on anti-Semitism. Guys, thank you both for your time, but I want to say thanks for your stance. And David, in a previous conversation, you were talking about your migration to Zionism. Yeah. And just as we're sitting down to film today, President Donald Trump is on record moments ago saying that he opposes the UK Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is advocating for the creation of a Palestinian state.
Yeah.
And, you know, all of my adult life that I've really been dialed into the news, different leaders and the UN have pressured Israel to give up land for peace, which never brings peace. David, if you would speak to what you would like Americans especially to know about Israel, their vulnerability in the Middle East, and really why it is in the best interest, not only America, but the world, to stand for the rights of Israel as a nation.
Well, I think that's really what's really on my mind is the fact that I believe very firmly, very, very firmly, that all of the criticism being levied at Israel, and I'm just going to say all of it, almost all of it, is based in anti-Semitism. Okay, they changed the definition of genocide so they can blame the Jews for the genocide. They changed the definition of famine so they can pin it on the Jews. This is the UN. The UN just passed a resolution saying that Israel committed genocide. Oh, by the way, the people who said that are 3 documented anti-Semites. I think the reason that we need to support Israel, is the reason I support Israel, is because there's no other place for those people to go. Okay? It's not so much about me. Yes, I oppose people who want to murder me and my daughter because of my race. But really, there's millions of people in Israel and their lives are in danger. Okay? They're surrounded by people, they're surrounded by countries to a large degree of people who want to create a country right next to them that wants them destroyed. Okay, not just them, me over here, because I'm a Jew in Canada and they want global intifada. So when we talk about, you know, Israel, we're kind of talking about a proverbial dam holding that back. Okay, that's who we're talking about. And when we're talking about creating a Palestinian state, which Canada and the UK and France want to do, F you, you're going to do the exact opposite and you're going to fill that dam. You're going to backfill that dam with so much water and power and money. What do you think they're going to do with it? I can't believe the stupid here. Okay. I can't believe the stupid. And what that means to me, Alex, is that it's not stupid. What that means to me, Alex, is that it's anti Semitism. It's deliberate. These countries, these people cannot be so stupid as to do this again. We gave the Palestinians a state like thing, and what did they do? They tore down their schools, they built terror tunnels, and launched a war against Israel. Why would you want to give them more power while they're in a state of terrorism holding hostages? You're stupid? You're a moron? No, no. It's anti Semitism. And that's
Well,
why I support Israel, because Israel is supported, surrounded by enemies. There's millions of people there. Yes, many of them are of my race. Yes, many of them are of my parents' religions. But that's really not so much my point. My point is not coming at this from an internal selfish point of view. It's coming at it from those people are going to die if the left
right.
gets its way point of view. And
Well,
they
I
don't
want to
seem
say
to
this.
care.
It is unjust for Israel to be extorted and forced to give up land for peace, and 60 plus years of treaties and agreements and accords show that the Islamicists cannot be trusted to keep their word in an agreement. Jenny Kaiser, I've got a question for you. Okay, given this, why do American Jews continue to vote for liberal political candidates that ultimately advocate for positions that are anti-Semitic?
Yeah, so, uh, this is a very hot topic. As I'm sitting here in Greensboro, we're going through some a primary season. So,
Right.
I think part of it is that, there's Jewish values. There's, 6 Jewish values, and a lot of the Jewish values that we have um, about repairing the world, about caring for one another, about making sure that no one goes hungry, right? So these Jewish values, the left tends to talk about a lot and have social programs that sort of correlate between Jewish values and what the government can do. So you've got that on one hand. And then on the right, you have extremely beautiful support by the majority of Republicans. Obviously, there's some fringe people on the far right that aren't as helpful. And so you have this competing idea. Do I vote based upon my Jewish values, or do I vote for the safety of Israel? And this is a really big hot topic among Jewish communities. And it's not going to be solved anytime soon. And I joke, and I hope that Dave laughs at this as well, is that there's an old adage, you have 2 Jews and 3 opinions. And that is
Mine is
happening
right.
right now. That is
That's pretty
happening
good.
right now. We cannot agree on on who to vote for because of these competing ideals. Do you vote for my safety? Do I vote for the fact that if I have another Shoah, if people come to my house with a gun and point it at my head and tell me to leave, do I vote for somebody that's going to help me get out of the country and go to a place where I'm allowed and I can get citizenship? Or do I vote based on these Jewish values and these Jewish ideals that I hold strongly to? And so it's very challenging.
But if Jewish people get exterminated, they can't be around to support the values.
Yes. Yes, again, that's where the challenge is, right? Is that do you vote for your own safety and don't worry about everything else, or do you vote for the values? And it's actually getting more difficult, Alex, because right now I call it the horseshoe, is that you have people on the right and you have people on the left, and there's so much anti-Semitism on both sides. And when you sit down and you start talking to people and talking to politicians, you realize that there's a bunch of anti-Semitism on the right. And so where does that leave you? If you're Jewish in a political spectrum, where does that leave you? You're in no man's land.
Mhm.
And so there are a lot of Jews that are making that choice every year when they go to the polls, which one do I hold dear?
You know, guys, and both of you either can answer this, but in prepping for the show today, I was reading that well more than 70% of Jewish college students say that they have experienced anti Semitism on the campus. Um, what is fueling this? David, what is fueling this?
Well, what is fueling this, I really hate to say this, okay? But it's really vapid and it is Trumpy poo batty poo. Okay? That's what it is. Okay? Donald Trump is wrong on everything. He's bad on everything. He cannot be right. And he likes the Jews and hates the terrorists. Therefore, the terrorists must be the good guys and the Jews must be the bad guys. And Alex and Jenny, I really hate to say it, but I believe that's it to a large degree.
Trump
I
derangement
believe
syndrome.
I believe simply that there's such a segment on the left that is so convinced that Trump cannot do anything right that when he said something, and I am not a fan of Trump, it's not hard to say the Jews are right in this. Okay? It doesn't take genius to say the Jews are right in this. He said the Jews are right in this, and I believe that so much of the anti Semitism has been fomented by the fact that he said the Jews are right. And everybody said, no, Trump can't be right. So the Jews must be genocidal bad. And that's where this whole thing comes from. And I really think that that's it to a large degree. I think that's kind of the fuel that's pushing this thing.
So,
I
Alex,
tend
I
to,
wanna
yeah,
can I
go ahead.
add to that? So, un yes, there's Trump derangement syndrome, and, we have been seeing an uptick of anti-Semitism on college campuses since before Trump's first term. And one of the things that is fueling it and that we're seeing is that you have a significant number of college professors that are anti-Israel and anti-Jewish teaching blood libel in the classroom. And
I heard it in the 80s when I was at UNC Greensboro. I'm talking
it's horrible.
eons ago.
And so what was found through Representative Fox had an entire um, congressional hearing on higher education, and what she found was that you have a lot of chairmanships being sponsored by Arab countries. And so you have a lot of Arab money being fueled into higher education in the United States, which then in turn is fueling anti-Semitism on the campus. You have Jewish kids that in the state of North Carolina, the Jewish kids used to go to UNC Chapel Hill. They used to go to Duke. They used to go to State. Some of these smaller, more liberal arts colleges like Wake Forest and Elon and High Point University had a much smaller amount of Jewish kids on their campus. In the past 2 years, every single year, the amount of Jewish kids on those campuses have doubled. And so what we're seeing is that the parents are saying, I'm not going to send my kid to a school that has rampant anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And the ADL has a scorecard for colleges of who treats anti-Semitism differently. What is the response of anti-Semitism from the administration? And parents are looking at that and deciding where their kids are going to go to school.
We're almost out of
Good.
time. Guys, there's so much I would love for us to be able to talk about. You know, the shooting of Charlie Kirk just days ago um, reminds me that Christians have a vested interest in standing for Jewish people, and I believe it's symbiotic. We've only got about a minute apiece. David, speak if you would. What would you like American, not just citizens, conservatives, but American Christians to know about what should be our position in relation to Jewish people and the state of Israel?
Well, I don't want to tell you what your position should be. Okay. I think that it should come from your heart. Okay. And it should come from your brain. Okay. And it shouldn't be about being a Christian or being a Jew. It should be about being a human and being a good person and, and seeing through what is clearly an anti-Semitic, a large scale anti-Semitic push to defame Israel and bring the Jews down to as low as the Muslims, and make make this kind of a battle between equals. See that this is not a battle between equals. It's a battle between the good and the bad. And the bad's job is to use rhetoric to make the good look bad, and that's what they're doing. And I beseech everybody to see through that and to see the truth behind it, to see the organized anti-Semitism at work on a global level. It is scary. It terrifies me, frankly. And I hope we can all work together, Christians, Jews, and atheists like me, and we can get together because we have to. We must.
Jenny Kaiser, a final word about how the rights of Jewish people really are the rights of everybody.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Jewish hate is the canary in the coal mine. I would implore everybody to start having conversations, go into the conversation, checking your ego at the door. Don't assume that you're right and try to listen for understanding. Listen for how you can have empathy and be an ally to somebody that maybe has a different opinion than you. Seek the understanding, seek the friendship.
Love, respect, dignity, understanding for one and for all Jewish people. Folks, we got to pull away. We'll be back after this.
I just returned from a conference at the Cove, and it was absolutely breathtaking in every way. The mountain views, the tranquil areas within the woods, and just being alone with God. Mornings spent watching the sunrise from a rocking chair with coffee in one hand and my Bible in the other. Evenings spent reflecting on the incredible spiritual teaching. It's the embodiment of peacefulness. Come and experience the Cove for yourself.
Welcome back. I want to thank Jenny Kaiser and David Silverman for talking with us about anti-Semitism. But let's talk a little bit about why Christians and Jews really ought to have a vested interest in supporting each other. Because, as I've said many times, really it's Christians and Jewish people. I'm not talking about salvation and proselytizing about the gospel, although I'll be very quick and eager to talk about what the gospel is. But I'm talking about just the moral foundation. It's been called many things: objective truth, absolute truth, natural law, the Ten Commandments, the Judeo-Christian worldview, that there are males and females. Procreation requires a male and a female. Marriage is between a man and a woman. Rights come not from government, but from God. And we have a vested interest in protecting the human rights of all, even those with whom we disagree on some other ideological level. You might not be Jewish, as in practicing Judaism, but you, as a human being, have an obligation and a vested interest in advocating for the rights and the safety and the security of Jewish people. You might not be a Christian, but you have a vested interest in advocating for the rights of those that are Christian. And now, as I mentioned in a previous segment, Ben Shapiro, whom we've interviewed, said that when people view the world in a conspiratorial way, and when they believe that they are personally being targeted, for example, rich people are a threat to poor people, it is assumed. And when there's this non sequitur, it doesn't follow. If someone has food on the table, conversely, someone else on the other side of the world went hungry. Or when they hear rhetoric in schools that is utterly false. Charlie Kirk was a racist. No, he wasn't, because homosexuality and transgenderism is a behavior, not an ethnicity. When we talk about ending racism, that doesn't mean that we're not also at liberty to critique certain worldviews. And then when school children are told that Israel is the aggressor in the Middle East, they're not. That they commit genocide in protecting what is theirs from time immemorial. The most indigenous of indigenous people in the world, the Jewish people in the land of Israel. Folks, it's time that calmly, factually, we reason together. It's what we've been trying to do on this show for years. And I want to challenge all of you, especially Christians and ministers, use your voice, your influence, to advocate for the rights of Jewish people. Israel has the right to self-determination, the right to exist, and yes, the right to self-defense. And using the land that has been theirs since, the history of the world, that's not genocide. That's just good government and advocating for the rights of the people. Folks, stay bold, stand strong, speak truth. Hi, Alex McFarland here, and I want to invite you to be a part of something very powerful, United in Prayer. Through United in Prayer, people are coming together to pray for our families, our churches, and our nation. Each week we send you prayer points and suggestions about how to pray with power. So please go to my website, alexmcfarland.com, and join us, and together we'll be united in prayer. Alex McFarland here. A big shout out and thank you to partners like you that are enabling us to do events, publishing, and broadcasting. Every year, thousands of people are praying to accept Christ as their Savior. Young people are being inoculated against wokeness in our camps and our events. And I want to invite you to please partner with us to help this continue. Our growing staff is working hard to really give America and beyond the only solution to the problems, and that's the new birth relationship through Jesus Christ. We've got a brand new book, and I want to send you a copy of this book, 100 Bible Questions and Answers on Prophecy and the End Times. These are actual questions from the listeners to our radio shows, television shows about, will Israel rebuild their temple? Is America in Bible prophecy? Are we living in the last days? And sadly, things like the recent shooting of Charlie Kirk, is the escalation in violence an indicator that we are near the end of time? For your donation of at least $40, I'm going to send you a copy of this brand new book, and you can donate online securely. If you go to alexmcfarland.com, please hit that donate button, or you may mail a check to Alex McFarland Ministries, just AMM is all you would need to write on your check. But mail that donation, please. It's tax deductible to P.O. Box 485, Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, 27313. We're proclaiming truth. A hungry world seems eager to hear it, and I thank you for standing with us. Please, your support gift, let us hear from you today.